What's up, guys, gals? Your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the next exciting episode of Bleach, episode 7,000 Year Blood War arc. This anime is fucking fire. This anime is fucking a godsend. This anime is gotta be number one of the year. I don't care what the hell else came out. I really don't care. I don't care if the animation's better. I don't care if it's Demon Slayer season 96. I really don't care. This is exactly what I want in an anime. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong. There's literally, the OST is hitting. Between the new tracks and the remixes of original old tracks for the nostalgia for old fans like myself, both hitting. So the sound design's perfect. Then you have the choreography with all this extra bullshit. Like, there's extra animation that, like, we wanted. We didn't think we were going to get it, but we got it. And so now I'm thrilled as hell, because episode 7 here, we get an entire additional scene. And this, I mean, of course, everyone's going to be talking about it. Like, we were already doing a watch party for episode 7 earlier today. And there was, I forget who it was, but there was a couple people who said they loved this episode even more than episode 6. They think that this is the best episode thus far. I would argue either episode 1 or 6 is definitely the top tier episodes. Episode 7, while fantastic, would not necessarily be in my top for episodes. It's not better than 6 and it's not better than 1, at least for me. But there is a fair argument for this, because for those of you who don't know, Kubo released, or there was a release on Twitter somewhere, official artwork of the original Gotei 13. And the designs are pretty wacky, they're pretty cool, they're pretty badass and stuff, and we've been wondering that, you know, with the silhouettes that we got back in the manga days, back in the... Jesus Christ, that was years, and that was over half a decade ago. Goddamn. Anyways, fact of the matter is that was a solid half a decade, if not almost a full decade ago, when we first got those silhouettes, and now we finally, and the silhouettes don't exactly match up, but that, who cares? But that's sort of like the Kaido Big Mom thing when Garp first spoke about them. That did not mesh up well. But at the end of the day here, what we get is, not only did we get these designs, it was like, oh, that's a cool thing, you know, not that they're, like, spoiler alert, they're not exactly in, because they're basically all dead. They are all dead, as far as we know, in 1,000 Year Blood War arc, and so we're not necessarily going to see them, but the fact that we got this was kind of cool. I was like, alright, Kubo finally did that, that's awesome. And then, now we know the reason we got them released, because they were designed for the anime, because we're going to see the scene where now we got new information too. We got brand new information. And once again, this is all canon because Kubo is directly involved. So anything that Kubo doesn't like ain't going to happen, right? So at least that's what we all like to believe. And I'm still firmly believing that thus far, because Kubo is simply adding things that he wished he had done. You know, he's looking back at his work and he's doing it not the George Lucas way of fucking with stuff that didn't matter, but screwing with stuff that it was like, okay, I really wish I had implemented this at the time and I made a mistake back, 3 years ago. Now I can fix that error. You know, he's fixing it up. He's polishing it. That's all he's doing. He's taking the same thing we all loved, but all he's doing is giving it a nice sheen, a nice shine. He's not breaking it. He's not changing it. He's just making that shit sparkle. So... And this particular scene opening up is done in this beautiful aesthetic style of this black and white, yet not watercolors. I don't even know what the term is for this, because it's not sepia or something. It's black and white, but it's colored. I don't know how to describe it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great choice for flashback. You know, this is ancient. This is thousands of years ago. You know, that kind of idea. It would be so easy for them to just do it in black and white. But no. They're like, no. We gotta step up the bar. And we get the original Court Guard squads attacking, defeating, and we get, once again, new information. Yuha did invade the Soul Society once before. We had no concept or no context for how this all went down back in the day, right? As far as I know, unless there was a throwaway line I'm forgetting, and I am not Teching 101, nor am I the Wikipedia for Bleach, so I could be wrong about this, but we never knew exactly at what circumstances Yuha and Yamamoto fought. right? Now we are actually getting that. They clearly invaded the Soul Society 1,000 years ago. They were butchered by the 13 Court Guard squads. They were all involved. And they tried to invade. They got the shit kicked out of them. And I believe firmly, and this is going to raise the question, I'm hoping we're going to get how this prophecy, the 900 years, 90 years, all that stuff comes about. Because clearly, I would argue, none of the Quincy's at the time had the letters, right? And that includes Yuha. Yuha Bach, I assume, did not have the Almighty at the time, because why would he lose? Granted, Sunken no Tachi is amazing, but this episode opens up with the Shunsui scene, and then we jump into this extra scene that was not in the manga. It's fucking amazing, and that's why a lot of people are saying this is one of the best episodes, because we're getting brand new scenes that we didn't, even hardcore Bleach fans didn't expect. I mean, you could hope. I could hope for every scene, right? I could hope for an entire biography following Koriko Tsuchi's life the entire time, But I'm probably not going to get that, right? I'm probably never going to get that, 3-hour movie following Shunsui. I'm probably never going to get that. I can hope, but I'm not going to get it. So the fact of the matter is that they are really trying to appease the fans here. And the animation quality, especially during the fight between Ichigo and Yuhaba, it's just like, wait a minute. This shit is going off the rails, just like the Yamamoto fight. And there is questions in the community about people thinking that Unohana Kenpachi, for some reason, is going to be lesser. All the budget has been put into these first 7 episodes, and I'm sitting there where's your evidence for this? Listen, granted, I'll entertain your idea. I'll entertain it, right? But at the end of the day, what evidence, after watching 7 episodes of this beautifully done anime, I have 0 complaints. Why would I assume that all the budget went into the first 4? Well, then the 5th one came out, and the 5th one was still of this level of quality. Okay, the first 5. Then the 6th one comes out. Oh, well, clearly they used up the budget now. Then the 7th one comes out. It's well, their budget must be exhausted. Why are people assuming that? Are they Bleach haters? I don't know who they are. I don't know who this resounding voice in the community is that assumes something with no basis in evidence. They're assuming it because it's not One Punch Man or Demon Slayer or something. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming. They assume that there's a finite amount of budget, which there of course is, but I always assumed that Bleach officially finally coming back was going to get a little more dollar amount than the next anime. Maybe, and once again, that's an assumption, but given the popularity, it's sort of like assuming that a Dragon Ball Z movie is going to have a bigger budget than the next, third-party movie. It's Dragon Ball fucking Z. So, in the same sense, it's fucking Bleach. Why is anybody surprised the level of quality and the fact that the quality has been stagnant? It has stayed, if not, and just peaked at certain scenes. It's just gone along and, all right, we're pretty good. We're 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, peak to 10, peak to 10, peak to 10. It's almost like one of those heart monitors. Just every couple episodes, and once in a while, every episode, there's a scene where it's like, beep. That's all we're getting. We're getting greatness. And this episode does this fantastically because we get the additional scene. We get of course, Byakuya's send-off scene and stuff like that, which a lot of people still think it's a bit of a fake out. I don't think so. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we just talk about that for a quick minute? I don't want this review to be 20 minutes, so we're just going to talk about it really quick. Byakuya's destiny, of course, Haswell's fucking Byakuya Kuchi's deadline from the manga is officially cut out, right? Which, granted, that's good. And some people, even when in the watch party, people were like, oh yeah, Byakuya, you're fucking laid it on thick. No. Byakuya believes he's done. His sword is literally crumbling and disappearing. Byakuya is assuming he's not going to live. Unohana's not standing right beside him. he's assuming that he's dead. He knows he's dying, and he is dying. That's a fact. Even in the manga, he was dying at this point. That is a fact. Byakuya Kuchiki was dying. So, and Byakuya Kuchiki knew he was dying. So then he had that beautiful scene with Ichigo, and that aura thing where he's so pissed off, his aura is doing that Yamamoto shit where he can't even be touched by the ring because he's fucking pissed. You killed my best friend Krillin against Frieza Goku pissed. This man is ready to lay down the law of the Soul Society on these fucking Nazi wannabe motherfuckers. And this entire scene is done very well, but a lot of people, even in the watch party, were saying that, like, oh, it's still a fake out because, we know what happens. But I would argue Byakuya doesn't know that. Byakuya is dying, that's a fact, and he does not know that A, B, and C are coming down to maybe help him out, So I'm just sitting down going, there was nothing wrong with this episode. The only gripe I could see was about the fake out death. But I don't think it is a fake out death. They took out the one line that was kind of like, and in the manga, they took that out in the anime, and this whole scene still works. Byakuya Kuchiki is still dying at this point. At this point in time, Byakuya Kuchiki is on a deathbed. He is dying. That is a fact. So I have zero problem with this. It culminates in the fact that Byakuya Kuchiki was, of course, Ichigo's first real rival. If you want to count Graham Fisher, that's fine, but he was his first, or Renji. But Byakuya Kuchiki was the main overall, I have to defeat Rukia's brother to really save her. That was the initial idea. It was all about honor, all about talking proper and being a noble and all that stuff. And here's Byakuya weeping, dying, and crying, and he does his whole noble speech with all his stuff, all his, this is an atrocity and all that, using all the fancy words, the noble words, like he went and read a thesaurus, can't even say that word, so clearly I'm not a noble, but Byakuya would kick my ass out of the Kuchiki family. But at the end of the day, he does all that stuff, but then at the very end, the last line, and people, they're not focused enough on this, the fact that he's talking all proper, even on death's door, but then, it's an atrocity that I must ask you, the audacity of me to ask you for this boon, for this favor. And then he just goes into normal fucking speech. Please, Kurosaki Ichigo, save the Soul Society. He talks plainly for the first time in the whole goddamn series. Nobody seems to be acknowledging that. I know Tekking does, but a lot of people seem to miss the fact that he speaks plainly with no flowery words for the first time. Realistically the first time. We get the emotions that he says in the Soul Society, at the end of the Soul Society and stuff, but he still doesn't talk plainly. This time, he actually just speaks plainly to Ichigo, which is significant as well. You're just a human, And this goes along perfectly with the fact that the disrespect that Yuha Bak puts on Yamamoto, even in death, says, like, you didn't want the humans involved. Even battling a guy like Sosuke fucking Aizen, you still didn't, you were hesitant, and you got soft, you got weak, you got this, you got that. And, yeah. So, Ichigo shows up, kicks some ass, but then gets his ass kicked at the end of the day. To be fair, he's completely battered at this point, and Yuha Bak even brings it up. The fact that, and we get this great scene with those two fighting, but the fact of the matter is, it's like, you escaped the jail, you shouldn't have been able to do that in the first place, you're also banged up to shit. Do you really want to fight me as you are now? Because that is a terror. Look at your ragged body, you are fucked up right now. So, it was not exactly a fair fight, in any respect, but it was still badass to see all the rain, the soundtrack, everything going down. And the final part, of course, like, it ends off the episode. The episode is fantastic. We also get the idea that, which you gotta love leaving this in, Sosuke Aizen screwing up Yuha. A little bit of foreshadowing there, that his perception can be screwed up by meeting with fucking Aizen. Aizen strapped up, locked up, completely sealed to the nines, can still fuck with Quincy Jesus. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a reason that Sosuke Aizen is arguably the best villain of the big three. Some people put Madara and Pain up there. Some people argue Crocodile and Doflamingo. I say, sorry for, doesn't mean that One Piece or Naruto are better or worse than Bleach, but I would argue that Sosuke motherfucking Aizen is the best of the big three villains with no contest. There's not even a competition when it comes to that man. He sits in his throne, in his chair, old chair-sama, sitting up there being a boss. So, yeah, this is an absolutely great episode. I'm looking really forward to episode 8. I was told this was going to be a super dialogue-heavy episode. I don't know where those spoilers came from, but it wasn't. It was just, I mean, there were speeches, of course, and stuff, but it moved at beautiful pacing. I had no issues. Fantastic. And don't forget to check out Misk releases on his Patreon. He releases our group reaction when, and sometimes I'm a part of it, sometimes I'm not, but he releases our reactions as we're watching the episode on his Patreon. So definitely go subscribe and check that out. So, that's it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bit of a longer one, but there was things I wanted to talk about both community-wise, episode-wise, and just in general-wise. Like, just the epicness and the fact that a lot of people don't understand Byakuya Kuchiki's speech as well as I think they should. Or maybe I'm the one reading too much into it. There's always that. There's always the shoes on the other foot sort of idea. So, anyways, that's it from me. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys back here next time, next Monday for BLEACH! That was New York Blood War Arc. The best anime of 2022. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb. Best anime I've seen in a couple of years. Period. If not half a decade. So, that's a large statement, I know, but I'm just saying it now. Fucking 7 episodes of pure goddamn greatness. And I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. So, here's to the Bleach fans that waited this long along with me. See ya.